Hey folks, JD here, and with us having a look at the Creality Ender 5 Plus yesterday, I wanted to give you my impressions now as I've spent a serious amount of time setting it up, looking at the whole thing, and I will let you know things that I didn't know about when I bought this printer. Now, first of all, I'm very happy. It seems to be a very, very good printer. The layers seem to be very tight. It seems to be outputting very well. I haven't dialed in any of my settings at this point. These are all default settings. So I haven't worked out my retraction rates, I haven't worked out my speed, I haven't worked out anything other than my standard heating element, my standard nozzle temperature of 200 degrees Celsius, which is the correct amount for the particular silk PLA that I'm using, and also my bed heat, which I always stick at 60 degrees Celsius. So with those two things in mind, everything else is default. So just to let you know, if you're looking at this and you're thinking, well, hang on, there's a bit of a retraction issue there. Yep, I haven't dialed in anything, so just to make you aware. Now, from yesterday's video where we had a look at the overview, the first thing that I noticed when turning this printer on is that print head arm wasn't moving back and activating the switch properly. Now that is a massive issue because essentially those switches are in play to tell the print head, to tell the different axis that you are at the end, and it should put itself forward. Now, if you don't have that, you are A, going to make a god-awful noise with that printer, and B, you're going to be putting more strain and stress on that motor, which in turn could break and effectively damage and break your printer. So what I had to do is I had to make a little mod which consisted of a small cork cut out to size with hot glue gun attached directly to the back of the arm of the Ender 5 Plus. That then ensures that the switch gets activated and that the arm moves forward and it doesn't continually trying to keep moving back. So if I had paid full whack for this, if I had paid £550 for it, I'll tell you something for nothing, I'd be sending it back. I'd be very angry. Because I bought it at $248, I am, well, that's why I've made a fix for it. Because quite literally, I think $248 for it is a great price. And I'm willing to make a couple of exceptions. And the one exception is I can fix that within a couple of seconds. And I did. It wasn't that much of a big deal. But if I had paid $550, I'd be livid. I think that attention to detail you should have at the time in the manufacturing process. It shouldn't get to us to say that switch isn't being activated. Now, I've tried to move the switch, I've tried to position it properly, I've tried, in a different location because it is positioned properly. I've tried no end of things and nothing works other than that little bit of cork. It's, as I said, it just seems as if they have worked so hard on a great frame printer and then let it fall down the wayside just with this little switch issue. Now, as I say, I don't know if other people have had it, I don't know if it's just my issue, but I imagine if I've got it, I imagine other Ender 5 Plus users would have had it as well. Now, after running, when I set everything up, I ran my first print. First print always, after leveling the bed and everything else, which consisted of making sure that you had the bit of paper test, that the nozzle was just brushing up against the paper across the four corners and the centre. That took a little bit longer than I'd expected. Roughly about 25 minutes to 30 minutes, because the size of the bed is so big. And with the smaller Ender 3, when you move these corners and move these wheels, yes, the bed does move, but it doesn't really move that much, whereas on this large bed, the slightest movement really does alter the bed a hell of a lot. So once the paper test was complete, I then moved on to, I got from Thingiverse, I got a Ender 5 test, and basically this test just drew a load of circles and just ensured that you had the correct amount of PLA one side as you did the other side. And to be fair, it worked flawlessly. I ran it 4 times just to be on the safe side. I then turned off the printer and ran it again for a 5th test, and everything worked flawlessly. So at that point then I thought, great, I'm going to use these default settings and I'm just going to go for a particular print, which is the print you're watching now. So far, I'm quite happy. This is the second print, by the way. The first print I had no end of an issue, and that was down to economy mode. So when you are printing, and I like to print big, I like to print large, I like to, well, you'll see some of the stuff I'm doing, and maybe then that'll answer a couple of questions. So essentially, most of my prints are over 20 hours. So in that time, you need your nozzle to be at an effective temperature. For me, it's always 200 degrees Celsius. And you need your bed to be at an effective temperature. For me, it's between 50 and 60 degrees Celsius. And I find that to work flawlessly. Economy mode on the Ender 5 Plus, though, does turn off your bed, your heating element within the bed. So you print your heating element within the bed, then cools down to 0, and your print starts to unstick. What the hell? I had done probably 6 hours, and then I woke up this morning to find that it was just string cheese everywhere. And the whole reason was because economy mode was on and my bed was ice cold to the touch. So I stopped the print, I cancelled the print, I removed the print. I then decided then that I would look at this economy mode, and I turned it off, and now the print that you're watching is my second attempt at this little bowl, just to see exactly how it works. So far, I've been doing this now for about an hour or so, and my bed hasn't turned off at all. It's still at 60 degrees. I'm very happy with it. So I'm putting down that little issue down to the economy mode within the Ender 5 Plus. Now, if you're doing something like if you don't require a warm bed, then fair enough. For me, I always use 3D printing glue to ensure I get a good first adhesion and good first few layers. Rule of thumb, if you get a first few good layers, chances are your print is going to be okay. And that's the rule of thumb that I try and stick to. Get your first 10, 15, 20 layers down and you should be golden. Which is why I choose to use 3D print glue, 3D print Pritt stick essentially, and a warm bed. I find that the glue then stays nice. It's still easy to get off. If I didn't use glass beds, I'd use an alternative, but because on my Ender 3 and on my Ender 5 Plus I'm using glass beds, I find that to be a very good solution. But if I could give you one word of advice, turn off that economy mode, because that's going to cause you issues on large prints or any print over an hour. Moving on, so far, just to recap, we've looked at economy mode, we've looked at the glass bed, we've looked at level in the bed, we've looked at first print, we've looked at test prints, we've looked at the little access issue with the switch and my fix for that. So another thing I want to talk about, and hopefully it's going to be quite brief, it's not that much of a big issue, is I really love that LCD display. It's about time that they used touch displays. The Ender 3 is pretty good at navigating, but it can be quite annoying if you've got loads of prints like on your SD card, like I have, and it's a bit of annoyance trying to get through the display. The display doesn't refresh properly, so therefore some of the prints, some of the names kind of merge into one. You've then got to wait, and it's a bit of a nightmare on the 3. On the 5, you get a true colour display, touch display, so easy to use, it is unbelievable. It is lovely. It really does bring a delight in using the menu system back into 3D printing. So that's a huge tick. Overall, this is only the second day that I've owned it, and overall I'm very, very happy with it. As I say, but I got it at a ridiculously cheap price. If I got it at full price, it would be going back because of that access issue. So far, day 2, it's a big tick for me. I will let you know exactly how things go in as time goes on. There's going to be a lot of attention paid to this, I think, because quite literally this does bring more industrial size and industrial scale prints into your home, and that's something I am very, very, very excited about. Alright my friends, well I hope you've enjoyed my thoughts and impressions on day 2 of the Creality Ender 5 Plus. I hope you'll join me for the next few videos of this when I decide I have enough information to share with you. Alright my friends, thank you ever so much for watching and listening. I've been JD, you've been fantastic as always. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe and ring that bell too. Hello and welcome to all the new subscribers. I hope you're enjoying the channel. So until next time my friends, happy printing.